All right, so welcome everybody to the Regional Community Safety Day. It's National Gun Violence Awareness Day, and it's really great to be out here with every single one of you. When we think about 2020 and we think about 2021, we often think about the compounding crises of the pandemic, the recession, racial injustice, but not a lot of people talk about gun violence. Gun violence is the silent epidemic that's been in the background, but for some reason, we don't treat it like the epidemic that it is. 2020 gave us something really, really powerful, and that is a template for what it looks like when we treat a public health crisis seriously. We saw how we responded to COVID-19. When it comes to COVID-19, we saw powerful resource deployment real quick. We saw coordination across jurisdictions. We saw our governments at every level acting with urgency. But when it comes to gun violence, we declare it a public health crisis. We say racism is a public health threat, but it's one thing to treat gun violence like a public health crisis, and it's another thing to just talk about it being a public health crisis. So again, let's use the COVID-19 pandemic as the template for what it looks like when we take a public health crisis seriously. Immediately when COVID-19 struck, we saw our governments buying up property all over the place to provide housing for people so that they wouldn't go back and transfer the virus to their family members. We need to do that exact same thing with gun violence. Coach Dom, you always talk about this. I need somewhere safe to take my kids when it's hot and they're in a dispute and they're at risk of being shot or shooting. I need somewhere to take them until things calm down. That's the same thing as COVID-19. Let's buy up properties and let's provide housing for our youth so that they don't go back and spread that virus to somebody else. When it comes to COVID-19, we saw our governments transform physical spaces. If you walk into a restaurant, you see plexiglass dividers. You see occupancy being limited so that people don't go in and spread the virus to one another. Well, there are organizations out there that are transforming physical spaces to reduce the likelihood of gun violence. You have Southeast Network, Rainier Beach Action Coalition, Urban Family, community passageways out here in parking lots, making sure it's activated with lighting and space and good food and people who are trained at conflict de-escalation. They're not getting this kind of support that they need. They're not getting what COVID-19 got. But we know that works, transforming physical spaces. When it comes to COVID-19, we saw coordination across all of our governments. King County was talking to the city of Seattle, was talking to the state. We were making sure that we were data-driven and coordinating across at every level. We're not doing enough of that when it comes to gun violence. And that's why it's so exciting to see this regional community safety plan. We know that gun violence is not just in South Seattle anymore or just in the Central District. We know that displacement is pushing our communities farther and farther south. We know that more of our communities are suffering from poverty in the hands of structural racism. So we need a regional community safety plan. We know that people are struggling in Kent and Federal Way. If you look at the map of where shootings occur most, it is the exact same map of how underserved and under-resourced an area is. It's the same map. So we need that regional community safety plan, and that's what you all are doing here today, and that's why I'm so grateful for the work of Derek Wheeler-Smith, Fahima Mohammed, Will Jimerson, and everybody at Zero Youth Detention, because they're creating that regional approach. They're forcing us all at every level of government around King County to communicate with one another. Thank you. Yeah, give them a round of applause. But like I said, even though their work is just beginning, they need more resources and more attention and more effort to really do this work meaningfully. With COVID-19, nobody had to beg for resources. We knew that it was coming. We knew that everybody cared. And now it's this time to treat gun violence like COVID-19. Give it the level of urgency, the level of coordination, the level of resources that we gave to COVID-19. And that's what you all are doing here today. You're giving it that attention. When you wear orange, you're demanding that attention. When you wear orange, you're demanding that urgency. When you wear orange, you're saying, give the Regional Peacekeepers Collective the resources they need to do this work meaningfully, to intervene, to prevent gun violence from happening in the first place, to restore our youth and our families after they've been, after their lives have been upended by gun violence. So thank you all so much for being out here. Let's all work together and make sure we don't lose one more life. Thank you so much.